Hey everybody, it's your pal Drew Dracy, and see, I told you I was going to keep making videos. I just wanted more subscribers, if you please. So why do I say please like that? That sounds so condescending. Sorry. Well, I'm doing another Bronze Age video of the Creator Merry-Go-Round. Frankly, I could just show this and end the episode right now. So a lot of cooks in the kitchen. And what's funny, there's two Marvel Masterworks, and in the second one, it's all Claremont and Byrne, like straight through. And they were just such an incredible team. Then they did Marvel Team Up, maybe at the same time, and then X-Men, and they were such a perfect pairing. And part of me wishes I could go back to doing that a little bit, but they did a story of JLA in. It was a 6-issue story that reunited Claremont, Byrne, and Terry Austin. How can I not remember an inker's name? Shame on me. Well, as I mentioned before, it's another series started by Roy Thomas, Gil Kane, and then it was just dumped onto a whole bunch of new guys on the block who just I don't know, just couldn't keep up. And the series almost, I would have thought it would have got canceled by now, but somehow he got his own first issue after Marvel Premiere 24, 25. And this was still during the Kung Fu craze, which was dying a bit. But Master Kung Fu lasted all the way to friggin' 83 or something. Which is so. I always love that costume, and I know it probably would look hokey today, but I mean, I wouldn't think so, but I think a lot of people would. But I would totally dig that costume in a live action show. Well, planned, plotted, and polished by Roy Thomas and Gil Kane artist, and Dick Giordano stepping on the inks, and Glennis Wein on the inks, and the colors. For once in a while, Dick Giordano worked in Continuity Studios, and sometimes he did Marvel work, but he's mostly a DC guy. And as for Glennis Wein, or Wein, was or is the wife of Len Wein / Wein. I was going to say Wein, okay? I loved her stuff. She worked all the way till like the late 80s, and I don't know beyond that what she did, but she actually, the last thing I remember her doing, and it's just the last thing I remember her doing, I'm sure there's more, she colored the Peter David, Dale Keown era of the Hulk, and it was perfect because it got to show all the detail that Dale Keown put into, like, this is one robot / android with all these tiny little details and tubes and blah blah blah, and she knew to keep that basically a solid because Dale had answered all the artistic questions of how that robot worked. So I think she does. Her and Bob Sharon, I love their stuff. So let's get down to it. Admittedly, this was based on Amazing Man, and not the guy from JSA in the 80s, but back in the early golden age, there was a character named Amazing Man. And they sort of, by Roy Thomas's own admittance, him and Gil loved that book. And those nose shots, I love them. I don't care if they're bloody or not. It's funny to hear people talk about the big nose shots, because I kind of grew up with them, and I kid around with them, but some people think it's like, wow, that's stupid, but I respectfully disagree. Okay, the Scythe, I think that's how you say it. You think I know by now, but I hated words like that just were kind of like macabre. I always said macabre, macabre, because it has a E at the end of the R. Okay, second issue, everybody. Strap yourself in. Beautiful art, but it's a whole different team. You got Len Wein, writer, Dick Giordano, inker. You still have Glennis Wein, Roy, co-plotter, editor. And introducing the pulse-pounding penciling of Larry Hama and Larry is one of those Renaissance guys. He was also in Continuity Studios, but he had also done a lot of penciling. He worked with Michael Golden on Bucky O'Hare in the 80s, I believe. He made G.I. Joe, a toy franchise, into a comic book franchise for years and years and years. And he's also worked in off-Broadway plays. So he's just like a bundle of creativity. And love that lettering too. Hats off to L.P. Gregory, not to be confused with H.P. Lovecraft. So it's pretty. I mean, Larry's really keeping a feel for it. That's another spread where it was done on half a page to save money at Marvel. But I mean, this is really strong stuff. I mean, he definitely tapped into the Gil Kane aesthetic without swiping, and that's a trick. That's tricky. Now, we got another writer, third one in a row. Doug Mensch is the writer. Larry and Dick are still on, and the rest of the crew. Wow, look at that. Ooh-wee. I'm going to zoom in on that. Wow. I've always admired Dick Giordano's work. So it's still pretty cool, and it's all clear, and now next issue we actually have two in a row, a twin spin, and pretty good. Petra Goldberg is the colorist. I guess Glennis had something else to do. I love the design of this character. Okay, same creative team 3 times in a row. That's astonishing for the Bronze Age. So, such beautiful stuff, and you could see the influence that Dick Giordano was to Klaus Janson. You know, with the thin hatching that kind of shapes everything nicely, and then all of a sudden, introducing Tony Isabella writer, Arvell Jones penciler, Dan Green inker, who we lost recently, unfortunately. When Tony comes on board, he brings the Marvel action, baby. He brings on Petra Zilipa, who I love. I know in the movies they had to not give him a costume, but a little bit would have been kind of cool. You didn't have to make it pink or something like that, but it would have been neat to see. And the mustache, I mean, that's pure Snidely Whiplash. People would have no relation to that. So there we go. Arvell Jones, I mentioned in the last episode, he was part of Rich Buckler's Detroit crew, and he's a little raw at this point. He moves on to do a few issues of Iron Man. So I mean, he's got a lot of poses now. I don't know if they're legit kung fu poses, but it keeps the story going. Oy, oy, oy. Talk about screeching to a halt. Look at all this copy. In fact, I shouldn't do it. But, I mean, some of these old comics that have redundant copy, I love to, cut through. I scratch out some of the sentences so you're not sitting there reading, War and Peace. Oh. I actually got to ink him on a Captain America issue that came out 2004. It was Robert Kirkman writing, the Robert Kirkman before he became the Robert Kirkman, and Scott Eaton on pencils, and me on the inks, and some other guy on the colors. I don't remember, but it was so fun to do Batroc. Well, anyway. Okay, now we have Vinny coming in. Every comic knows the touch of Vinny sooner or later. That is really nice. I have to applaud Vinny on that. Let's see. Now this is new stuff. This is like New Kid on the Block stuff. A lot of dead air. Now that's nice. I love that. Like I said, sometimes you put a lot of energy into a page, and sometimes you just have one that has to go out. So you balance it. The living goddess. Sorry about that annoying sound. But yeah, Orville's bringing the noise. That's like a quick way to do Kung Fu. The teeny tiny panels. They're about the size of 2 postage stamps stacked on top of each other. Okay. And, you know, this is one of those, again, it's one of those 70s tropes. And when I'd see this, or when I'd see early George Perez where he used tiny panels, or even Jim Starlin when he would fill a page with panels, and Keith Giffen, it really inspired me as an artist because I thought, well, look, it's great stuff, and, you know, because there's no backgrounds with this imagery being so close, or you want to keep it clean, you can kind of bang these pages out. So they had a big influence on me growing up. I just screwed around for too many years before I got into the game. So I was too busy with cars and girls, like a Bruce Springsteen song. Now we have A. Bradford. Yes, a Bradford is inking this episode. So I mentioned Bradford before. He inked an issue of Power Man. So yeah, there we go again with the little tiny panels. And I inked a piece that Orville did of Batman recently, and he's much better. He does really great stuff. That's not easy. That's great stuff. Sounds like Baba Boogie there. Baba Boogie. Classic Kirby pose. I'd love to do a show where I see that everywhere, but it would take a long time. That is a Gil Kane swipe, I believe, but that's okay. You know, like I said, if you're new on the now we get a whole new team. We get Chris Claremont, Pat Broderick, Bob McLeod, and Karen Mantlo, Bill Mantlow's wife on the letters, Michelle Wool or something. Len Wein is the editor. Again, it's like, let's keep throwing stuff out. I don't think it was deliberate that they switched the characters. I think maybe they were just looking for the right fit. And it kept... Orville Jones got moved on to doing Iron Man for a few issues, like during the War of the Supervillains. And wait, I got to take one of my patented drinks of water. Water with a lot of Jack Daniels. But it's so. Another thing is, when Bob McLeod came on the scene, he was already super. He did like an issue of Defenders, like 25, and I'm like, man, this guy's great. So I don't know if it just came to him naturally, how long it took. Like for me, it took 2 years at least to break it as an inker because I had to find out what worked, what didn't work. You know, and Pat Broderick would go on to big name comics. So he did Captain Marvel for a while, and that book sort of meandered writing wise. And he did Micronauts starting with issue 19 after like a year of crappy art. It kind of rejuvenated it, and he did a lot of indie stuff, and he did Captain Atom, like 50 issues for DC. What's interesting is Broderick's style is kind of fluffy. Like a lot of his details on the hairs and the faces, they kind of fluffy. So I don't know if he was doing this early in the book. That's really cool. I love seeing blackout scenes when somebody comes back to do it. I know eventually I'm going to have a Kickstarter, and I have to stick one of those in there. Because I must. So it's good looking stuff. Very good looking. Now, that may look Gil Kane, but that is not a swipe at all. Not at all. Wait, you know, I'm just saying, to my opinion, maybe you know better out there in YouTube land, but that is a super badass first page. I can't imagine what it would go for on the retail market, the sale you know what I'm saying, to sell it. Well, then you got Vinnie Coletta back again, so he's always there to get the book out in a weekend. But that's just like there. I think it's really kind of piss poor what Vinny did there. That was just a super quickie thing, but the rest is fairly nice. So here we got some. I think, well, martial arts were really big at the time, and I don't know if they use photo reference or I think one of the guys in the office knew Kung Fu, or they researched it, and they had these Deadly Hands of Kung Fu magazines, and sometimes they'd get a writer that would tell you how to do certain martial art things. A Monstroid. I love that. That's another cool thing. Ain't he sweet? Now, Chris Claremont, John Byrne, Al McWilliams. Again, Al McWilliams, he's just an amazing inker. I think he was just much older when he did this. And he, you know, you would never know it by looking at this stuff. It's so three-dimensional. He does great faces and great environments. I'm sure Byrne hated this, but because you know he's a contrarian. That's really neat. That's like way before Frank Miller would do this kind of scene over and over again in horizontal panels. So you know it's kind of neat that they all have. Everybody has their influences. That man's face and the clothing. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. And Burns bringing a real weird. He admits much later that he had a Neil Adams influence. And if you ever buy X-Men: The Hidden Years by John Byrne, you'll see a lot of that with the foreshortening and the angled panels and such. So this is the villainous hippie called Angar the Screamer, and he may look like he's for peace, but nope. He's pissed off, and he basically fucks with your mind and gives you nightmares. You know, that's about it. You know, there's not a lot you can do with the character otherwise. Like he's imagining this brick is tagging him. This big old guy. Next month, in Iron Fist #1, Iron Fist versus Iron Man, and then the next issue of this rotating book Marvel premiere has Hercules, Prince of Power. This is such a kooky cover, and I absolutely love it. Iron Man's got the nose that I love, everybody hates. Well, and the cover is such an insane Gil Kane. I can't think of the way to. It's something Gil Kane. He's one of the few people who kind of pull that stuff off. In comics, you want the lead character you want to see his face. You almost never see the back of their heads. Unless there's a group shot of a team and they see like Darkseid or Doctor Doom approaching. But beautiful angle there, and they're hitting each other simultaneously. Iron Man's repulsing ray, knocking me out. Iron Fist Kung Fu blow, destroying my armor. And it sound like commentators on TV, but that is one of the craziest, unlikely unlikely images ever. It's just bizarre. It's really weird, but I love it for that reason. Well, now, where Al McWilliams is back, and like I said, we see Byrne really, really grow. I liked him since the beginning, and he was another guy. Oh man, wow. He gets knocked back, goes down the steps, and it's Misty Knight in her superhero outfit at the time. Everybody gets a superhero outfit. And they would become lovers later on, and for a long, long time, and all through Power Man and Iron Fist, and great character. Her and Colleen Wing. Now, look how Iron Man looks very cartoonish there. I like it, but I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. But I don't know if it's more Al McWilliams or Byrne was very cartoony in the beginning. With Rog 3000, lovable character, some other Charlton books. So he did lean towards the cartoony. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Damn. Love that giant foot breaking the panel border. Oh no, the plant blew up. And he thinks Misty Knight's in there. Not because of me. Iron Man. Cha! Sha 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 sha! Brow! Cat! Ka-chong! Look at that. To glow until it becomes like unto a thing of iron, and then it has you strike. And when it has you strike, yeah. I love that line. A lot of people later on thought it was really dumb, really corny, but that's just like his thing. It's like just very much like Wolverine saying, "I'm the best at what I do, and what I do is not very nice." So, Colleen shows up. They shake hands. Valley of the Damned, issue 2. Frank Chiaramonte is doing the inks. Not a fan really, and you know, I for some reason, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it's just not my thing. He inked an early issue that George Perez did of the Inhumans, and I don't know, it didn't strengthen George's pencils from being a new kid on the block. It kind of kept it. How can I put it? It just was a horrible combination. Take another drink of water, everybody. Yeah, it's good booze. Great stuff there. Although with Byrne's hard graphic imagery, it's you know, it's traceable. But as I say, I could be a tracer, but I trace with grace. I had some guy busting my balls one time years ago after the Kevin Smith movie came out, and he was like, "Oh, you're Tracy." That was like a big thing at the time. So I just turned the page I was working on, the live page of a comic book, and I handed it over to him. I said, "Okay, go ahead." So I only did that once, though. So I think. But yeah, Chiaramonte stuff looks much better over Byrne because I've seen Byrne's pencils. Oh, there's the Courtier, Calty, plant people. Here we go, everybody. Okay, it's a drinking game. Come the next Marvel Masterworks. And your hands begin to smolder, to grow, until they become like unto things of iron, and Iron Fist is born. I love that. I think it's very poetic. Got all the bios. So, that's it. Anyway, I'll see you soon. And I'm not going to cover the next volume because it's all Claremont Byrne. It's cool. It's kick-ass. But I think you can get the whole thing in the Iron Fist. There's an epic collection. I think covers all the contents of this masterwork and the second masterwork, and it's really worth seeing. I mean, somehow the book came along, and despite all the different creators, they finally got a team to settle on, Claremont and Byrne, and also Dan Adkins would ink the later issues, and Dan really does a fantastic job. Okay, everybody, I will talk to you later.